It was nearly 2 months ago when former homicide prosecutor Brooke Jenkins was sworn in as district attorney, appointed by Mayor London Breed. She immediately laid out her priorities, a focus on violent and repeat offenders, and a pledge to balance criminal justice reform with true accountability.
We are a city of second chances, but the truth is we have to draw a line with people who choose hate, violence, and a life of crime.
Jenkins quit her job with the DA's office late last year and joined the effort to recall her former boss, Chesa Boudin, who was blasted by critics as soft on crime. Amid growing frustration about hate crimes against Asian Americans, retail theft, car break-ins, and rampant drug dealing on city streets, voters ousted Boudin from office in a June special election.
Voters were not asked to choose between criminal justice reform and something else. They were given an opportunity to voice their frustration and their outrage, and they took that opportunity.
With Boudin out, Brooke Jenkins is now reshaping policies at the DA's office, hoping to convince San Francisco voters she deserves to keep the job, with 2 months to go until Election Day.
And welcome back, everyone, for our very important conversation with District Attorney Jenkins. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. It's been nearly 2 months since you were appointed as District Attorney, and you've made some changes already, including new pretrial detention and cash bail policies. I want to start there, Brooke. Why did you choose to prioritize those two things?
Yes, because they play a large role in whether or not offenders are re-released back out onto the street while their cases are pending. And so I wanted to make sure that we were maintaining a system that moved away from depending on someone's ability to pay bail and was more fair to those who have less financial means, but also prioritized public safety and allowed my lawyers to make decisions on whether or not to detain someone pre-trial based on the risk that they pose to public safety.
How has that played out in real time? Have you been more likely to seek pretrial detention?
I would articulate it as this. I believe that we need to be following the law in that regard, and that the previous administration was far more constrained and decided that they would not follow the law. And so one of the differences we've seen already is that in cases where fentanyl dealers in particular are in large quantities of that drug, which is very lethal, as well as weapons, we are seeking pretrial detention in those cases, which is something that the previous administration never did and that I thought was necessary to protect the public and save lives.
Okay, what about critics? And there are some out there who say that the changes that you've made thus far are regressive. That's the word that the public defender Manu Raju used.
Yes, and he has a job and an obligation to represent the interests of those who are accused of a crime. And so that's a fair position from his side of it. But from my side, we have an obligation to protect San Francisco and the public. And so we need to be making sure that those who are repeat offenders and are violent offenders and those who pose a significant public safety risk are not re-released back out into the public to victimize more people.
Let's talk about another policy shift for you, and that has to do with prosecuting juveniles here. You have lifted Chesa Boudin, your predecessor's blanket ban on prosecuting those under the age of 18. How will you decide when it's appropriate to prosecute a juvenile for a crime?
We actually have not lifted that policy yet. We are in discussions with community stakeholders, those in the juvenile justice system, to discuss what the best route will be in certain very egregious and heinous cases. It's something that I think as a society we have to recognize that sometimes those who are 16 and 17 commit some very heinous and serious crimes, and what we believe is the right way to handle those situations. But I think on the whole, our juveniles should be presumed fit for the juvenile system. We have to maintain that they and understand that they are different than our adults. And so that is something that we are going to do, is to presume that they are fit. But we are discussing right now what the policy will be going forward.
And do you truly believe that these policies will in fact lead to less crime?
That is our goal. That should always be our goal. And yes, we want to both serve as a deterrent to crime as well as hold those offenders accountable who choose to still engage in it. And so my goal is to set a new tone in San Francisco that crime is not tolerated, is not acceptable. We are not going to be the city that people flood into from throughout the Bay Area to commit crime. And the way that we do that is to make sure that there is accountability.
Let's talk about another major issue facing the people of San Francisco that's obviously caused a lot of concern, and that's the continued crimes, hate crimes targeting members of the AAPI community. You obviously came into office pledging to make that a priority here. What are the concrete steps that you've taken to try to address this really troubling problem in the city?
Yes, I have now made sure that, or established a unit within our office that is designed to only handle cases that are for vulnerable victims, so those in our elderly community. That unit will also be who handles hate crimes, so that these cases are given the special attention that they need by more senior prosecutors, not spread across our general felonies unit that handles a myriad of different types of crimes. And as well as working very closely with the police, which is something that wasn't being done, to make sure that we are being notified the instant that one of these crimes occurs, so that we can then deploy our victim services unit to reach out to victims and offer what services we need to, language specific services, so that they understand the legal process and what's happening. That's something that was very absent before, and we want to make sure we're taking steps to correct that.
Obviously, something that we're seeing in San Francisco is the continued rampant drug use. You talk about cracking down on drug dealers. What exactly does that look like?
It means making sure that there's a consequence for these offenses. No longer should we treat drug dealing as a victimless crime or decriminalize it as a DA's office. We don't have that right, and I think San Francisco and its residents have been very clear that they don't want us to do that, that they are tired and fed up with the fact that our streets have been flooded by drug dealers. And so I am making sure that we now are holding those who sell these drugs accountable, that we are not allowing them to abuse and flood our courts that are designed for rehabilitating those with substance abuse issues. And like I said, that those who are in possession of excessively large quantities, particularly of fentanyl and or weapons, are held in custody if we believe that they present a public safety risk.
And what if those dealers are in the country illegally?
We have an obligation to make sure that we hold everyone accountable across the board. Of course, we also are required by law to take into account someone's immigration status, and we are doing so, and we will do so. But at the same time, we cannot allow anyone to simply cost us lives of vulnerable San Franciscans by repeatedly selling a very dangerous and lethal drug.
All right, we have a lot more to discuss with San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins. We are going to do more of that, have more of this conversation on the other side of this break, including talking about the next phase of the campaign. We also are going to talk about recent criticism over her paid role with the Chesa Boudin recall effort and what she thinks about Boudin's decision not to run this November. More with San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins after this.